Hey everybody, welcome back to Animal Fact Cafe. I'm Kyla and I'm cold. It is supposed to be April. Why is it 40 degrees? I need to drink some water. I sound like I have a frog in my throat. So you might hear SpongeBob in the background, and I got a new cup. I got a Stanley. I hate myself, but I saw this yellow color, and yellow's my favorite color. It's so hard to find yellow things because a lot of people don't like yellow, so when I see something that's yellow, I need it. So I got it. Is it any different than my Awala? No. It's just a cup. I don't understand why everybody's obsessive with it. I mean, it did keep my ice cold all day. I will give it that. But it was also 40 degrees. And I was outside, so might have just been a coincidence. But yeah, I did my first internship at the aquarium today in the 40-degree rainy-ass weather. I did, indeed. It sucked ass. My feet, I couldn't feel them. I felt like I was walking on, nothing. I felt like I was wearing those moon shoes. Do you guys remember those from the fucking 90s or early 2000s? I don't know, one of those. That's what it felt like I was walking on. It was crazy. The kids were fine though. I had to teach them about the environment. And if you know, I don't like children. Every time I see a child in public, I'm like, ew, what is that? So you're probably like, why the fuck are you working with kids? But it's for a class, whatever. But it was actually kind of fun, minus freezing to death. That was no bueno for me. I cannot function when I am too hot or too cold. All my bodily functions go out the window. I could be a little bit cold and I'm like, I can't do anything. I can't. I'm frozen. Or if I'm too hot, I'm like, I am in the desert and I'm dying. I can't. I'm very diva-ish when it comes to a thermostat. So anyway, that was fun. This kid literally put a crab in his pocket. He was like, I have a crab in my pocket. And his teacher was like, why? And he was like, I don't know. And he pulls it out. And he did indeed have a crab in his pocket. And you're probably like, what? So the water surrounding the aquarium, we pulled up a crate of sea creatures. And they got to go through them and see what they could find. And I guess he put one in his pocket. I don't know. So children are weird. So today we're going to be talking about our zoo's bad. Segueing from the aquarium, we're going to be talking about zoos. So, are zoos bad? This is a hard question because there are some zoos that are bad, and there's really good zoos that really put a lot towards conservation and trying to actually help animals and not just have a fucking, freak show where they charge people to look at animals they don't see. Just saying. Really good zoos you want to look for are ones that are AZA accredited. So you're like, what the fuck is AZA? So AZA is what the fuck does it stand for? We're going to back up a minute. I love how I wrote everything but that. What is there going to be an episode where I don't research something? Association of Zoo and Aquariums. I'm an idiot. I knew that. Anyway, so it is a community that promotes, this is from their website, continuous improvement in providing great animal welfare and humane, healthy, and stimulating environments for all animals in our care. Blah, blah, blah. AZA assures that its member zoos and aquariums employ modern zoological practices and basic tenets, animal care, welfare, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's this accreditation that zoos and aquariums get saying that they give back to conservation efforts, they humanely take care of their animals, blah, blah. There's a bunch of things on the list, and it takes a lot for them to get this accreditation. So just be wary of zoos that don't have this, because you might be going to, like I said, a freak show, and that does nothing for the animals. It's like a circus, if you think of it that way. My favorite zoo that I've actually never been to is one of the top zoos in the world. It is the San Diego Zoo. They are obviously AZA accredited. And they have a San Diego Wildlife Alliance that is a nonprofit conservation where they have, so there's the San Diego Zoo and the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. They're they're two separate things, but they're in the same place. And as a part of this alliance, they have over 12,000 animals. Crazy. So, yeah, they are one of the biggest zoos. They have so many different animals. I want to go so fucking bad. They post the best, like, TikToks. I know that has nothing to do with anything of the animals. Like, they're always just seem like they really do care. And their animals always just look happy. And they really do a lot to help out the community and their environment and breeding programs and all that kind of stuff. So that's an example of a good zoo. So, an example of a bad zoo. I don't have a name of one, but think of like Tiger King or something like that. That would be an example. Small enclosures. The animal has no room to move around. No enrichment, which means they're just sitting in a cage all day. They don't get to use their instincts for anything. Hunting, gathering. There's different types of enrichment. The ones I think of are like the food enrichment, or a brush, like a big brush for them, or for like bigger cats, having places for them to stretch and scratch, things like that. Because them not being able to use their instincts makes for a very sad animal, and then if they're sad, they're not healthy, and etc. So another one is no conservation efforts. So they just have these animals but don't do anything for conservation. They're just like, hey, I have these animals here. They don't participate in any programs that might help other zoos or other wildlife. They just have animals there to look at, essentially. Bad education, which I feel like kind of encompasses all of this. Zoos that aren't constantly educating their staff and learning more about new animals or new ways to help the animals in their care, or just learning about different things. And on top of that, having people in the industry that just aren't very well educated. And that therefore the husbandry for the animals aren't correct. The animals aren't properly cared for, which could lead to small enclosures, sickness, blah, blah, blah. So kind of like whole thing. Just education is great. On top of this, I wanted to talk about zoo etiquette. Children in particular. If you have kids, don't let them bang on the glass of an enclosure. It literally makes my skin crawl when I see people do this, or kids do it, or parents just letting them do it. And then they're like, oh my god, why isn't the animal coming to us? And I'm like, your kid is like scaring it. Imagine if you were sitting in your room, somebody's just like banging on your window. You would want to run away. You wouldn't want to sit there and be like, hey, like, I just don't understand people that let their kids do that. I was at the zoo one time, and this lady was like really bitching and complaining about there being only one lemur or something. And she was like, this zoo is ridiculous. They only have one lemur. And it's like, first of all, they have different parts of their enclosure. They had like an outdoor part and an indoor part. So I was like, some of them want to go inside. It's hot. Or they're getting food inside or whatever. Or they just don't want to be fucking looked at. Like, people think zoos are there for their viewing pleasure. Well, yes, that is part of it. It's really not. It's there for you to learn more about animals and ways to conserve the environment and why these animals are important and blah, blah, blah. They're not there for you to look at them and then, like, not learn anything, if that makes sense. So it just pisses me off when people complain about stuff like that. And I'm like, that's probably also good that they're maybe trying to rehabilitate some animals and be able to let them go or, like, whatever. Like, just don't be an idiot. Be quiet and respectful. There's, like, people, like, walking through screaming. I was at the aquarium the other day, not when I was interning, and it literally said no flash photography, and this family literally full-blown took a flash photography picture in front of a sea creature that was not good for them, and it just really made me want to scream. So don't do that. And then also properly educate your children. Again, I was at the zoo a couple months ago, and this kid was like, ooh, like, this animal's so cute. And they're like, don't get near it, it has rabies. And I'm like, not every fucking animal has rabies. A lot of animals can contract rabies or carry it, yes. But it's not that common. And not every fucking animal you see has the ability to get rabies. So Stop. Just like people, for example, possums, everybody thinks they're the rabies factory. It is actually very rare for possums to contract rabies because of their low body temperature. So it's very uncommon. Should you get near an animal that's wild? No, but these are animals in an enclosure. So the fact that she was like, don't get near it, has rabies, I literally wanted to like slap the bitch. I can't. And then these kids grow up being scared of fucking every animal. And then it just reverses everything we're trying to do to save the environment and animals. So just educate your kids. Obviously don't touch things, but be like, hey, this animal is important to the environment because of XYZ. For example, possums are important for environment. They eat a lot of ticks. Ticks are fucking disgusting. They carry a shit ton of diseases for humans and animals. And they just suck, literally. So fuck them. And so the fact that possums decide to eat those is amazing. And without them, we would have more ticks. So fuck that. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Do your research before you go to a zoo, especially if it's like a smaller zoo. Not saying small zoos are bad, but just look up some things, see if they have that accreditation. There's also a lot of other accreditations they can get that are nice to have. And just be nice. When you go to the zoo, don't fucking scream. Don't let your kids scream. Like, if I screamed at an animal, my mom would have literally beat my ass. Not actually, but she would have yelled at me and told me we're going the fuck home. Like, you don't treat animals like that. Point blank, period. Mic drop. That's all I have for you today. I'm exhausted. I had to deal with kids today, so I'm going to go play Sims. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Animal Fact Cafe. I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.